You have a great problem. You have so many kids. There's like 100 kids that are coming to your club every week, but you don't have that many leaders to break them down into small groups to ensure that you're going through the format the way we've described Kid Story, like doing the retell or asking questions so that the kids can personally get involved in those discussions and in those activities. What are you going to do? Well, I've got some suggestions here today for you here on Kid Story Quick Tips. You've got a large group of kids. What are you going to do with them? Well, first of all, you can actually keep them all together by doing motions, and everybody gets to participate. So let's take the story of Jesus blesses the children. Okay, the parents are taking their kids to see Jesus, so just have everybody marching. But they wanted Jesus to do what? To touch them and to bless them. So touch and bless. Now the disciples give a scowl look. Don't bother Jesus. Everybody can be doing that. Jesus gets angry. All these different motions that you can do. Motions is great when you've got a large group of kids. Now the other is the rope game. You may be familiar with that. Now you have the kids all in circles all around you. Maybe you have a designated leader. Now you may have some leaders, but not enough to cover all the groups of kids if you have them in groups of about 8. So you could pick like the oldest kid in the group that you have, or maybe there's some parents that are kind of standing on the sidelines, but maybe you can get them involved to just kind of help lead and make sure things are moving along. But you're in the center and you're monitoring all these small groups that are happening around you. You do the rope game. You could use a ball the same way. In case you don't have ropes, just use a ball and have the ball be passed around. It could be a stick, it could be a rock, it could be anything that you have around you that can be passed around. And if you don't have any music to play, just use something simple like tingo, tingo, tango. You keep saying tingo, 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 tingo. And then when it says tango, whoever has that object or has the knot in the rope, then that person tells the next part of the story. Maybe you have a song. You could create a song. Maybe it's a song that the kids already know. I remember when my kids were little and we did Zacchaeus was a wee little man. I still remember that song, and here it is 35 years later. Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. And you know how the song keeps going from there, but songs and music, it encompasses so much of our brain, and it's easy to remember, and it's a great way to do a retell of the Bible story. Maybe it's something as simple as get kids into pairs or into a triad, a group of 3, and they each have to retell the story one to another. You could do relay games. If you want to involve kids in games, get the kids in groups of maybe 8 to 10, get them to line up, and they have to run down and they have to tell the first part of the story. Then they run back, they tag the next person in line, that person comes up, then they have to tell the next part of the story, and they keep running back and forth till the whole story is told. And hopefully everybody's been involved in it. Great way to get the kids excited and a great way to get them involved in retelling the story. Maybe it's everybody's calling out, what are the top 10 events? And you get kids to respond to that. Another thing is just even doing a drama. And you get these small groups of kids to actually act out the Bible story. Or you get them up in front to retell the story, and they're getting to do it. And maybe you have some different things of like the kids in the audience are cheering when it's good and boo when it's bad, just different things like that to get the audience involved in retelling the story. Maybe it's, like you have the group of kids and you've got paper and crayons, large pieces of paper or just individual pieces of paper, and the kids get to color. For kids that like art, and there's lots of kids, if you're capable and have the capacity and the materials to do that, then have them just draw out their favorite part of the Bible story. Maybe you have a timer. It's on your watch, it's on your phone, and you time the kids. See if they can retell the story in a minute or less. Great fun activity, just different ways to get the kids involved in retelling the story, even though they're in large group, and you're trying to make it so that each one has an opportunity to retell the Bible story. Maybe you have some other ways that you've been able to use with your group. Why don't you put them in the chat or write to us and share those ideas to us, because we would love to hear more about how you're using Kid Story and how kids are retelling the story in your groups. Well, thanks for joining us here on this week's Kid Story Quick Tips. God bless you.